What's going on, guys? Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we create content like what you're watching right now, simply to educate and engage individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I'm a writer, podcaster, and the director of our film festival called Horrific Hope. First film festival of its kind to be horror-centric and mental health focused. If you guys would like to submit your nightmares, be it screenplays, short films, or feature-length films, click the links in the descriptions below and submit for a chance to be featured in our 2023 lineup. And while you guys are down there, make sure that you guys follow us on all of our socials, check out our podcasts, support us find out ways to support us financially, what we do as far as a non-profit, more movie reviews like this, and most importantly, our mental health resource library. I have another feature for you guys coming out of this year's GenreBlast. As I've mentioned in all of our GenreBlast videos, we are going to be doing coverage both this month and next month, and possibly dipping in a little bit into November, depending on, well, my work schedule. As much as I would love it to be, Victims is not a full-time job, so I do when I can. Talking about the movie Follower. It tells the story of an actress slash screenwriter who aspires to be a influencer, and she takes on a writer job, and the writer job actually ends up being a lot more than she can handle. Let me just start off by talking about this movie. There's a lot of Hitchcock influence that's in this movie. And I'll start off by saying that this movie feels like Hitchcock for the social media age. Very straightforward at first, and there's not a whole lot of like twists and turns that you feel. And then you get into the second act of this movie, and you're like, okay, I think I know where we're going, and then there's another twist. And every time you think you know where you're going, this movie takes another twist. This movie ends like I just couldn't help but just have my jaw on the ground as this credits rolled. It's one of the most jarring endings to a movie I've seen this year, and possibly in the last 5 years as far as horror goes. It really made me really like have a brand new perspective on this movie by the time it ends. Because this movie initially does invoke one of my pet peeves, where essentially like you're like, okay, hey, this is getting into the territory where this ends, we're done. Oh, there's 15 minutes left still. Well, there's got to be another ending coming, and you get another ending, then another ending comes. But when the final ending comes, it is so satisfying, and I am so glad that this movie broke me of that pet peeve. Like, granted, I will still probably have it, but Follower does a great job at just taking you for so many loops and twists and turns in its last half hour. It's great. Don't get me wrong, this movie definitely does have its predictable moments. There are definitely things that would happen, and because I've seen movies similar in tone to Follower, I would be like, you know what, I think this is gonna happen. Sure enough, it happens. In some ways, this movie reminds me of last year's Shook. It's not streaming on Shudder, by the way. You can also pick it up. I had to have it in my collection because I loved it so much. But yeah, so like much like Shook, Follower has the two. They both center around social media influencers that kind of get caught in this cat and mouse type game, and the way this one kind of takes that formula and flips it is really refreshing. Dani Baker and Luke Cook play our two leads in this movie, and they do an exceptional job. Cook particularly can be like this, like really charismatic, but then like also be like really creepy, so you never really kind of know what vibe you're getting off of him. I really liked that because I felt like that performance really helped elevate the movie and some of its twists and turns and more mysterious elements that truly do take you by surprise. On the flip hand, you have Baker, who is this kind of larger than life personality, but as the film kind of gets more personal with her character, the more heartbreaking she becomes, and the more you're able to kind of see her dramatic performance. Like, she's not just a cliche kind of social media influencer part, but there's a lot of drama that's built and layered into her character. And also on top of that, she makes a great final girl. If there are any other girls in this type of predicament, but that kind of like archetype of she pulls it off great. This movie very much is a psychological thriller, so if you're coming into this movie kind of expecting a slasher or something, it is a slow burn. That's what I'm gonna say, but it deals really well with its psychological elements that I feel like really make this film effective. Photography in this movie is incredible. Probably one of the best looking films that has come out of this year's GenreBlast by a landslide. The third act of this movie is completely bonkers to the point that it actually elevates the movie from just kind of being an ordinary cat and mouse psychological thriller to being something really extraordinary. But I'm just going to go ahead and run this through the Rorschach rating scale because it's taking every inch in me not to talk about spoilers. So I'm going to go ahead and give Follow Her a 3.5 out of 5. As of right now, there is no notable things for like distribution or news that's kind of come out. So make sure that you guys have your eyes ready and on our socials, and just follow the hashtag follow her on Twitter and Instagram. Let's talk about mental health though. New to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we take a theme of mental health from the film of which we're reviewing, talk about it for a few moments in hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. It's really interesting to talk about from an angle of mental health because it really does provoke a question. What does a elongated series of, or days, months, weeks, however many amount of time you want to talk about on social media, what type of effect does that have on mental health? Dani Baker's character, Jess Peters, plays someone that is just constantly trying to climb up the social ladder, and it's really fascinating how far she will go in an attempt to gain popularity or to become trending. Started doing Victims and Villains. Victims essentially started out as a therapy session for me to reconnect with a friend of mine, and eventually it evolved into talking about mental health and suicide prevention alongside of nerd stuff, and then it kind of formed slowly into what it's become: a network of podcasts, a YouTube video channel where we talk about movies, a Twitch channel where we do streams, and a film festival. Like it's kind of evolved into all of this stuff. And when we started, the very question I asked myself was, who's actually going to care about what I have to say? Who actually is going to take the time to listen to me talk about my opinions and my views for an hour straight? And then when we started doing YouTube, I thought the same exact thing. And you guys are awesome. Like, I know that this channel isn't the busiest channel in the world. The fact that there's even one of you here, and the fact that these videos get very little promotion and you guys still comment and still like right on here means the world to me. At the end of the day, the things that we wanted to do as far as content creation goes is, our thing is, we just want to reach people, and we want to remind people that they have value as a human being, that there is hope, and that there are resources readily available for you. And if you don't know where to look, we wanted to be the ones to bring them to you. We wanted to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health, and if one person gets reached in this video alone, then this video creation was worth it. Sometimes there are creators that don't share that same type of viewpoint that I do. And Jess is an interesting character to talk about because she wants to get it on for her vanity reasons. And at the end of the day, I think stuff like vanity and pride, like, they all have an effect on mental health. And when you throw social media in there, we don't even yet understand the factors that social media has on us as a generation. And sometimes we just need take a break from our phone. We need to take a break from the apps. We just need to breathe. And you'd be really surprised by how well your mental health is based on that stuff. I just got back from a vacation where I was basically in an area where I didn't get a whole lot of surface. And so it felt really, really refreshing to be in a position where it's like, I don't have to rely on my phone. I don't have to worry about work. I don't have to worry about social media. I can just enjoy the bands that I paid to see and spend time with my wife. Because this is just kind of turned into a mental health moment for content creators. So make sure that you guys sound off below and let me know. But what is it particularly about content creating that got you started in the first place, and what type of effect has it had on your mental health? And how are you taking care of your mental health in creating content? Because for us, at least for me, I have to have times where I just hit rest and have to go and have to be ready. So I hope this is an encouragement to you. And as always, if you or someone you know is watching this right now and you're struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, click the links in the descriptions below and have a good night and hit the subscribe button.